Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Today I bring you a review on this 2023 Dodge Charger Hellcat Widebody. This is not a red eye. This is the standard 717 horsepower car. But today I'm going to go over all of its cool features, the tech, listen to how it sounds a little bit, and just give you my overall thoughts and opinions on the car. So without further ado, let's get started. So this particular car is painted in Destroyer Gray. It's a very flat gray base paint, kind of reminiscent of the US Destroyers that are painted in this color. It's accented by 20 by 11 hyper lightweight black wheels. They look more of like a granite color, like the color granite. Inside you have 6-piston Brembo brakes, finished in red. If we go into the inside, you'll see we have Laguna leather finished in red, that demonic interior I believe it's called, accented with the carbon and suede package, which gives you carbon fiber along the dash and in the center console there, as well as a suede headliner. Under the hood of this car, you will find the very famous 6.2 liter supercharged V8, topped with a 2.4 liter supercharger that produces 717 horsepower and 650 foot-pounds of torque. At the time when this car came out in 2015, it was the most powerful production car you could buy. Back then it outputted 707 horsepower and 650 foot-pounds of torque and had a top speed of about 204 miles an hour. As earlier I mentioned that there is a red eye version, which takes this 6.2 liter engine, puts a larger supercharger on it, changes a couple things, and it produces anywhere from 797 horsepower in our later models, and then the jailbreak, which is what all 2023s would be, produces 807 horsepower, which out of a family four-door sedan is absolutely ludicrous. With the 2023 model year being the jailbreak version allows a lot more customization within the car. You can have this car with different color stripes. You can have different color brake calipers, different wheel options. You can even have your badges finished in a different color. These are your standard badges. You can have them in black, I believe in red. You can also have the rear trunk spoiler back here. Originally, most of the cars, it was painted satin black. This one is finished in Destroyer Gray. Looking from the back here, you can see the full mount rear taillight section, accented by nice diffuser and exhaust tips. And with the wide body package, it gives you these wider fender arches, which in place you can fit large 305 section tires on a 20-inch rim, which helps improve performance. The older car had 275 section tires. 707 horsepower was very, very difficult to get off the line. It just spin and spin and spin. But with the help of the 305s, which even though in my opinion still isn't enough, it does drastically improve the performance and gives you a little bit better opportunity to get some grip and get off the line when doing harsh accelerations. Stepping inside the car again, you can see we have red-faced tachometer and rev counter. This car only has 9,800 miles. You see just how nice the carbon fiber looks. I love the way that they did this. All 2023s will have this jailbreak logo instead of the SRT Hellcat logo. So let's go ahead and turn it on. I'll show you some of the cool tech this thing's got. Foot on the brake, red button to start. So, starting in the center, you have your digital speedometer, which you can change between miles per hour and kilometers. All your vehicle info, battery, air intake, temp, engine torque and horsepower, which is cool to see. Air fuel ratio, boost pressure, intercooler coolant temp, tire pressures, the usual stuff that you'd want to see. Down here we have performance pages. This is just a quick synopsis of what you're doing with the car. If you're driving it hard, see your top speed, reaction time for 0 to 60, and what the time is, 100 mile an hour, eighth mile, quarter mile, braking distance. There should be G-forces, lap times. Just a lot of cool tech in here for those who do want to track their car and drive it hard. You also have your fuel economy. These cars, even though they're a big V8, taking them on road trips, you can get good gas mileage. You're driving it up and down the highway, it can get about 25 miles to the gallon. Cruising around 53 miles an hour in 8th gear, you get about 30. Yes, you can get good gas mileage out of this. So your trip info, what's playing, stored messages. You can set up the digital part of the screen here, enter a speed warning. So if you don't want to go over a certain limit, you can set a certain speed limit. That's that 110 in the corner. So if I don't want to go above 110 miles an hour, you can set that there and it'll beep at you saying you're going too fast. And one thing that I wish a lot of the other cars would have is active diagnostic codes. So you can click OK if you have a check engine light and it'll actually tell you what's up with the car. Moving over to the infotainment screen, this car uses Uconnect 4, not Uconnect 5. This is still using the older system from 2014, I believe is when it came out. They updated it. Very responsive. You have your media, automatic dual zone climate control, heated cooled seats, which is probably my favorite part. Also the heated steering wheel, especially if you're in the cold temperatures. Cold climates, you kind of want a heated steering wheel because your hands get cold. The mirror. You have different apps you can purchase. You have hotspot for Wi-Fi. You have performance pages. I'll go over that in a minute. Just select different settings, audio settings, your drive modes. Your phone, you can do Bluetooth or Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. And the settings page, you just change different things about the car. Languages, how you want units to be displayed, the time, camera for the backup camera. So now let's go into the good stuff, the performance pages. So opening up the performance pages, there's a lot of cool things you can see in here. Have main gauges, important gauges that you might want to take a look at when you're on track. This is customizable. You can change this. You can place whatever you want. Coolant, oil, trans, battery, basically anything that you wish to desire. You want to keep an eye on when you're on the track. Here's a rundown of all your times for drag racing. You can see your 60-foot reaction time. Basically everything you would find on a typical quarter-mile slip if you've ever ran your car at the track. Everything's here. And it shows your personal best, what your last was, your recent one was. Over here in acceleration braking, you can kind of see just kind of a synopsis of that. Again, personal best, last, your recent. Got more gauges here. There's 3 pages of them. So this shows everything kind of in one area instead of having to scroll through in the tachometer. Got a G-force reader, so if you're driving, you can record how much G's you're putting in. You know, whether it be acceleration, braking, left and right turn. Engine performance, this is a very, very cool feature. You can see your supercharger pressure. You can see how much torque your engine's producing, how much horsepower. You can see just by touching the throttle, everything moves a little bit. And you can also have that readout here and a live dyno, kind of like a dyno page that you would get if you dynoed your car. Really, really, really cool tech. And on top of this, you have in the center here your SRT button, launch control, should you want to launch the car. Press the SRT button, it brings up your drive modes. With auto's your everyday drive around, drive to work, drive to the grocery store type of deal. Keeps everything tame, very, very comfortable to drive. You have sport mode, which dials everything up a little bit. Makes everything a little bit more aggressive. Makes the shifts a little more aggressive. The steering, the suspension firms up somewhat. And then if you go into track mode, that is the most aggressive setting. This allows you to get the most out of your car when on track. Traction is really dialed back. The transmission and the suspension's at its hardest. It shifts very violently. It's very firm. The steering wheel, also the steering feel changes, so the steering's a lot heavier. You have custom. Custom, you can set things up however you want it. So you can see I have like a suspension on track, steering on track, transmission set to track mode, but the traction set to street, so you can still have fun and somewhat save yourself. You can also set this up here. You can select how much horsepower you want. Do you want 500? Do you want the full 717? You can change everything. Even if you want to use these paddles, you can change that if you want to use them or not. We go back. There's also eco mode. So if you're in auto mode, put it in eco. Changes the transmission, the power back, dials the power back to 500. And in the center here, you can see a little green thing right next to the park. Shows your eco mode. Basically makes it to where you can maximize your fuel economy. I did run this car in eco mode. That's where I was seeing the best fuel economy. So it really does work. Another cool feature about this car is it does have a valet mode, which you have to have a PIN for. I did not set this up yet, but you would enter the valet mode, click yes, enter your PIN, and what that does is it locks the car to 500 horsepower, locks the car out of second gear. You can only go to 4,000 RPM and up to, I believe, 50 miles an hour. That's the fastest you can go. Also in this screen, you can see your race options. So we have line lock. What that does is it locks the front brakes up and allows the rear tires to spin freely for doing a burnout. You have your launch control here. You can customize your RPM launch speed. Usually with these cars you want to have them a little bit lower. I haven't really messed with this. You can program a shift light, so you can have it right here, or the surrounds of this gauge cluster will start to light up when it's time to shift the car. And then race cool down. You're making several passes at the track, right? You want to have the car cool down. You got to make sure you have all these parameters met. You click race cool down, and what that does is it sends all of the AC refrigerant through to the supercharger and has the fans on. Unfortunately, in this car, I did try using it. It doesn't work. I don't know if that's a software glitch. It seems like on the normal 717 horsepower Hellcats, it doesn't work, but on the red eyes, it does. I don't know why. That's something I'll have to talk with the dealer. But all these things, you go through here, they have different information tabs. So if you're unfamiliar with what something does, you know, you can click the information tab and it tells you. So what do I think of this car? Well, in my opinion, I think it's one of the coolest cars ever created. It's not every day that a manufacturer is going to push the limits of what a family sedan is. Yeah, you have BMW with the M5. You have the E63 and the S65 from Mercedes. But on the American side, this is the pinnacle of four-door muscle. Chevy was the only one that was able to even get close to this car. You know, GM products with the Cadillac CTS V. That car came close, 650 horsepower. Then the new CT5V Blackwing with its 668 horsepower. The only thing that car has over this Hellcat is the CT5V does have a manual transmission, and we all know manual transmissions are fantastic, especially in a four-door car. However, this car with its giant engine and its 8-speed gearbox, it's so easy to drive, so comfortable, easy to live with. Even in a winter, it's not that bad. As long as you behave, you can put some winter tires on this thing and handle the winter like a champ. I've seen it done before. I previously had a 2015 Charger Hellcat, put snow tires on it, drove it for 3 years, and it did just fine. It didn't get stuck. It's ironic that I got stuck with my 06 with snow tires. That's what I find funny. You know, this car, with the different options you can put on it, you can customize it however you want. You can make it your own. You can put a sunroof on it, change colors, add unique stripes, wheels, brake caliper colors, different interior options. You can even have suede seats with leather. Like, there's so much you can do with these. The options are pretty much endless. That's the good thing about the jailbreak model. Now, comparing it to my SRT8, my 6.1, the black car, this car is obviously way better in every single way. It has a personality, it has an attitude. You know, you're driving down the street, you hear that supercharger whine. You know, it adds adrenaline to you. It really gives you an adrenaline kick. You hear that car, you're shifting through the gears. It's very fast, it's actually quite nimble despite it being quite a large car, especially with the wide-body kit. But there's some times where you'll be driving it, it can be a little nerve-wracking, especially going through like construction zones where things get a little tight. I know driving down to where I'm at right now, it was a little bit nerve-wracking, trying to get around certain things and taking certain corners. But overall, for what you're getting for the price, in my opinion, you can't beat it. You know, these cars are sitting around $90,000 brand new, maybe up to $100,000 if you go for a red eye. But overall, like a used Hellcat, even an older one, even a first generation 2015, like what you're getting for that money, $40,000 to $50,000, you're getting such an amazing car. A couple other things to go over. This car does take 93 octane. The thing that I do like is, before, the older cars, I think it was before 2020, there was a button on the door. It was located like right here somewhere. I think it was like right there. You click that button and open up fuel filler cap. Thankfully, enough people complained, you can just now click it, opens it up. Just like I said, this car does take 93. Has a 19-gallon tank. Depending on where you live, I know gas around here is like $4.40 a gallon, so it takes about $80, $75, $80 to fill up roughly, depending on how you're driving it from empty. In the trunk, if we open up the trunk here, there is tons of space. You know, this is a four-door family car after all, so you can have enough space to put all your groceries and then go gap a Mustang if you really wanted to. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it for me. I hope you enjoyed this review of this 2023 Hellcat Charger. Please leave a like, comment what your favorite part about the car is. If there's any other cars you might want to see reviewed on the channel that I can try to get my hands on. And do make sure to hit that subscribe button. We are trying to get to first 500 subscribers, then 1,000. You know, doing this YouTube stuff is very fun for me, but everyone works. I try to do it whenever I can. I enjoy it. So, like I said, hit that like button, comment, subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you next time.